Hello, and welcome to the Straight to the Source podcast. I'm Tanya Barr.
And I'm Lucy Allon, and we're looking forward to taking you straight to the source of the people driving our food and hospitality industry forward. Today on the show, I'm joined by a good friend of Straight to the Source, Dr. Joanna McMillan, one of Australia's leading nutrition scientists, dietitians, and food commentators. We're big fans of the way Jo makes the science of nutrition both delicious and entertaining, and that's exactly what she's done with her new book, The Fibre Factor, which we're diving into today. It shines a spotlight on one of the world's most overlooked ingredients in modern diets, and why fibre could be the next big opportunity for chefs, food producers, and the hospitality industry to rethink flavour, nutrition, and menu innovation.
Today's episode is proudly brought to you by our friends at Unox Australia, industry leaders in cutting-edge kitchen technology and innovation.
Joanna, it's great to have you back on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you for having me back.
So we're here to talk about fibre.
We are. Look at that gorgeous book cover.
I know. So look at that. The Fibre Factor, if you can see on screen right now, I'm holding it up. A science-backed guide to a healthier gut, stronger heart, and sharper brain. Tick, tick, tick.
Who doesn't want all of that?
So it's literally just hit the shelves this week. And so people, you can get your hands on it right now. But I was lucky enough to get my hands on a preview copy. Thank you. So I have had a read and I've been absorbing all this incredible information. But I love where you start with this whole premise that really fibre has had this reputation of not being that glamorous. And you want to make fibre sexy again.
I do. What a mission to have. I'd like to give myself a challenge, but I think we can do it with fibre.
Yeah, okay. So what does that actually mean in the way we think about food today? What do you mean by let's make fibre sexy again?
Well, what I really mean is, kind of protein has been getting all the accolades. It's like the golden child of nutrition. We've pointed the villain finger to fat, we've done it to carbohydrates. Protein seems to have escaped all of that, and everyone's trying to max out their protein. And we've forgotten about this poor little thing called fibre that's been shoved to one side. We've inadvertently lost it from our foods. And when you say fibre to people, it tends to conjure up, brown foods, boring foods, cardboard, perhaps sort of, old-fashioned roughage. Yeah, what my mum used to call roughage. What your granny maybe thought about because, or it's associated with going to the toilet and constipation. And that doesn't really make it sound very sexy at all. So what I mean by I want to make fibre sexy again is that realization that actually all of that is completely undermining what fibre actually is and what it does. And when you start understanding, one of the things I say in the book is that the science of fibre truly is sexy, because you start understanding that this is all about, part of it is fibre alone. It has its individual effects. Part of it is via the gut microbiome and what the gut microbiome does with fibre and what it produces. And then we get this knock-on effect on the brain, on your heart, on your liver function, on your overall cardiovascular health, your vascular function, your arteries and veins and vascular system, and your gut, what's happening within the gut, even weight control, detox pathways and inflammation. All of these things are impacted by fibre. And we've forgotten about it. We've brushed it to one side and not really realised what the impact is of that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think we've forgotten that there is this interconnectedness that is so crucial to our well-being. And you're right, we tend to get laser focused on one thing. Like you said, it's protein is really the big favourite child at the moment. And we do tend to get hung up on these singular focuses, which, they're not very, I guess, healthy when you focus on one thing and you forget about all the other things that are really crucial in building well-being in a holistic way.
That's right. And I think, look, protein is important, but it's not the only important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is one, speaking as a nutrition scientist, when we're doing research, and for those of us who've been involved in doing human trials or lab trials or animal trials or whatever it is that you're involved in, we have to get down to the nitty gritty and pull food apart and look at individual nutrients. We have to analyze it in that way. But it's also really important that we sort of take a step back and then look at the bigger picture. And it's why nutrition research research is so difficult because food is incredibly complex.
Yeah.
And it's that totality of food matrices and the way that foods are put together, the combination of different nutrients that are present can have different effects from different foods. We see that with the saturated fat research as a great example. And so we've got to be careful that in that laser focus, looking at one thing, fibre included, we don't forget about what the totality is of individual foods.
Yeah.
And so I'm very much sort of interested in whole foods and diets that are rich in particular things, because that's where we really see what the impact is on our health, rather than extracting one individual thing and looking at that in isolation.
Yeah, absolutely. So you open the book with this idea that we've been in a fibre famine. And I think many people would understand that, industrialization of food has been a big player in the current landscape of modern food culture and what we're eating. But can you set the scene on what that actually means in nutritional terms and why this is such an important topic to educate people about?
Well, the first thing is that it's not all negative, what's happened with the industrialization of food. I mean, speaking as a woman, one of the things, I had a colleague write an article a long time ago now, but she was basically writing about TV dinners and how TV dinners effectively released women from the kitchen.
Yeah.
And so being able to take shortcuts, we no longer have to grind our own flour and make everything from scratch. And we can buy sauces and ready-made things and ways of not just making life easier for us and being able to throw together a meal very quickly, but also limiting food waste, giving us increased shelf life on, because few of us are living in a country rural environment where we can grow our own food, go hunting and gathering and all the things that our ancestors would have done. Many of us are living in urban environments where we want to go to the supermarket and buy what we need, or go out to eat and have a delicious meal, or be able to buy in food into our home without having to do everything from scratch. So these are the positive aspects. However, the downside of that is that until relatively recently and increasingly today, we have to start thinking about the health impacts of that.
Yeah.
In the old days, even eating out would have just been about having a delicious meal because it was kind of a treat. Certainly that was the way it was for me growing up. But now most of us tend to eat out a lot more often.
Yep.
And so now it's more important to me when I eat out that actually I want to know about the quality of the food that I'm eating. Because unless it really is a special celebration meal, I am concerned about making sure that I get my nutrition. I do want quick, ready to throw together meals at home, but I want to know that they're nutritious and that I'm getting the right nutrients in there for me. So I think we've sort of caught up now with industrialization can be incredibly helpful, and to be quite frank, it's necessary to feed the world and to keep changing foods in the way that we have to provide enough food to go around in the future. But we have to do it with a nutrition lens on as well as a culinary lens.
You're absolutely right. Like, the convenience factor has been a real game changer, but it has been done at the sacrifice of a kind of extractive approach to food. And I think that's where, we've lost some of that nutritional impact. And I think what I'd love to explore is, from a chef and food service perspective, where we are now, a lot of people do want more. They want to know that they're eating healthy meals. They want to know that they're balanced. They want